Hi, I'm Craig Roberts of LMScounseling.com. I'm here to talk to school educators and administrators about how to help troubled children. Helping troubled children is not an easy thing to do. You already know this, but you got into this job because you love children and you want to help them. And so I'm going to give you some basic ideas. These are principles that can work from a kindergarten child on up through high school, but the way you would apply the principles might change based on that child's age. So the first thing I want to help you understand is that children that have been through hard things like adoptions or abuse or neglect or even medical traumas and um, anything that's been a pretty hard thing for them, that child is not going to respond the way that you would typically work with a child. You're going to have to change some of the things you're doing. Most schools are working with programs where they use reinforcers. They give the child some stickers if they meet certain behaviors, and if they don't, then they don't get a prize, and things like that. That kind of a program is not going to work with a child that's been through a hard thing. And here's the reason that it won't work. Those children have these core beliefs that they're struggling with, these very deep set beliefs that say, nobody loves me. I don't love anybody else either. This world hates me and I hate the world. And I'm not even worth anything. And lots of negative beliefs of that similar vein. They go down this rabbit hole. And as soon as we start to do a discipline where we say, okay, we're going to take away your recess, or you're not going to get a sticker now, all that does is take them back down to that hole where, well, I'm not worth anything. And everybody hates me, and I'm just going to hate everybody else. And then that provokes the tantrums and it provokes more bad behavior. And so you really cannot help a child by doing what we've traditionally done in schools for discipline with these programs of reinforcement. The way that we help children is by meeting their needs. And the needs of children are complex, so that's sometimes hard to figure out. But just for example, let's say you have a child that's coming to school hungry, which children do, right? And maybe they are even offered school breakfast, but they just are having so much fun playing outside that they don't eat it, or maybe they just eat a Pop-Tart or some kind of sugar that runs through their system in the first 30 minutes of school, right? And so then we have this child with low blood sugar that's getting irritable and grumpy, and putting them on some kind of behavior plan isn't going to help them. We actually need to get actual food inside of them, and we have to figure out that that's what the need is. Sometimes we don't know that a child's coming hungry from home. So there's some detective work that we have to put into place to figure out what the need is. But a lot of times we can make a guess and we can try something out. We can say, hey, let's go try getting a snack. And then you just watch and see, does that child's behavior change after that food gets into their system? There's a lot of other needs that children have. Like I said, if they have these deep-seated beliefs that nobody loves me, you can't take away a privilege and have them think, well, this person doesn't love me either. That's not going to help them. Whatever you do, this child has to feel from you that you truly care about them. And you have to make a relationship with this child that if you want to help them, I'm saying you have to, you don't have to do that because you have a choice, right? But if you want to help this child, then you'll need to meet those needs, and you'll need to make a relationship where they feel loved with you, they feel safe, they'll feel that if they make a mistake, that you're still going to care about them. You're not just going to want to punish them. You're not going to abandon them like all the other people in their lives. And this is one of the things that our research tells us, is that for children that have been through hard places, so many of them end up in very dark places as they grow up and mature and get into their adult years. But we know one thing that helps them. In our resiliency studies, they studied children that somehow made it out of all these hard things, and they turned into wonderful, productive people that are loving and caring about others. and they track down what's the things that made this work. One of the biggest things is that they had somebody that cared about them over time. That was a coach or a teacher or a school administrator or a scout leader or an aunt or an uncle or somebody in their world that consistently over years of time was there for them and made them feel that they mattered and that they were truly loved. So to help these children, it's more than just a small little effort. You actually give your love to these children. And, if you're an elementary school person, you might get invited to this kid's high school graduation or their marriage. And they might be texting you, and you might have a way that they can contact you and keep that relationship going throughout their life. So to help these children is actually a big commitment. You're going to want to train all the people in your school to do this because one person in the school can't possibly do this with all the children that need it. There's one more thing that children really need, and that is to feel like they have a success area, something that they're good at, something that they shine in, whether that's a sport, whether that's art or music or drama or whatever you can find. You've got to find something that this kid can shine in, that they feel like they can build their self-esteem around, their worth around. Because if there's nothing about them that they feel is good, it's very hard for them to feel good about themselves. And once you find that thing, then you're going to find a person that can connect with that. So if they're a little artist and they've been watching YouTube tutorials about how to draw some cartoon figure, they need an adult that's going to say, wow, you're really getting these art skills going. Do you think you could teach me about how to do this? And then they come in after school or sometime and they give you little art lessons, and they start to feel that relationship where they matter, they have skills, and they're loved for who they are, even if they've made a mistake that day and they hit somebody on the playground, that they're not going to be deprived meeting with you because you're too angry or they're too bad to meet with you. You're going to let them still come after school, and you might have to talk about it. Yeah, you made a mistake. How are we going to fix this mistake? But they're going to still know that you love them. And so let's get back to what we do when a child is misbehaved. Rather than giving them a consequence or a discipline, what we help a child learn is how to fix the problem they created. If they offended somebody, then they're going to need to make an apology, right? And of course, you wait until the child has calmed down before you talk about this, because if they're angry, they're going to say, I'm not going to apologize, and I don't care. And so you're going to wait until they're in the appropriate emotional state, and you're going to say, how are we going to fix this problem? You really hurt this person, you really offended them. We need to fix this, and you're going to brainstorm with them, let them come up with some ideas. Sometimes the kids' ideas are better than ours. Or maybe they, kicked a toy, a ball out of the schoolyard and it got lost or broken and ran over by a car. And you're going to say, wow, how are we going to fix this? Because that toy costs money that the school bought. How are we going to get that? And then maybe you'll make a deal with the parents that the parents can give them, some chores to do. They can earn money, they can buy a ball, and they can bring it back to the school. So their consequence is to fix the problem they created. It's not something we just add on arbitrarily, that because, you did this, now you're going to miss recess for 5 days or something. That's not what a child needs. That just sounds like, I'm mad at you, so I'm going to make you suffer. And I'm another adult that doesn't care about you and just puts them back in that dark hole that nobody loves me and I don't love anybody else. So when you work with a child and say, you made a mistake, let's fix it together, I'm on your team, it feels completely different to the child, and they find out, yeah, I'm not perfect, I make mistakes, but I can fix them and I can be on a good terms with everybody after that. Changing our way of thinking is challenging, and so be patient with yourself as you try to think of some new ways to help children. You'll get the hang of it as you practice, and This is a good thing for you to talk together as a team about, together with other teachers and other administrators, especially those that are connected with this child, and brainstorm about what the child's needs might be and how you can help them and who might be the one that would click with them the best. That will help out to have a team of people. Many schools are starting to have resource rooms or calm down rooms where there's an assortment of toys and Play-Doh and fidgety things. These rooms are really helpful for kids, and so I recommend that you do these rooms. However, it's the second helpful thing. The first most important thing is that they have a relationship. They've got to have somebody that cares about them. They can't just go in that room by themselves, or they can't just go in with an adult that's on their phone or typing on a computer. They need to go in that room and have the adult look them in the eyes and say, "Wow, Johnny or Jenny, you look like you're having a big feeling today. If you want to tell me about it, I'm ready to listen. If you just want to go fidget with some Play-Doh, that's okay too, but I'm here for you." They need to feel like that adult is ready and connected to them. So the relationship is priority number one. And I did say that sometimes this is a long-term thing. It might span over years, but it doesn't necessarily have to span over years. Sometimes you're going to be the memory of, oh, I remember my third grade teacher. She loved me so much. She made such a big difference in my life. And they will remember this when they're 30, 40, 50 years old. And you will literally change their lives. And it's something you can do just by opening your loving heart. I know you already have a loving heart because you decided to go in working with kids and being a teacher or an administrator. So just open your loving heart and work from that angle, and the child's behavior will come around. So sometimes as you're showing respect and kindness to a child, and their core belief says, nobody loves me and I don't love anybody else, they can get uncomfortable and just be rejecting of your efforts. And they start to feel loved by you, and then they call you a name. They're so uncomfortable that they reject those efforts. And so you just need to be prepared for that. Kids do that often, and they just aren't ready for it because it feels so uncomfortable to them. It's out of their normal and very weird to them that somebody's showing kindness to them. And so you just let that be there. And then when they come back, you just show them kindness. If they call you a name or steal something from your desk, then you just say, I didn't like that very much, but I still like you because you're special to me. And you just keep that relationship going. Sometimes children need things that are hard to give in our society. Almost all of our children, even the children that behave well in our society, are touch deprived. Very rare for a child to actually get the level of touch that they need. And the more that they're not touched, the more that they act out. If you've ever known somebody that's worked on a hospital unit for mental health with children or even adults, they can tell you that sometimes people will act out just to be tackled and held down. They'll do something dangerous because they want somebody to touch them. And that's the only way they can figure out to get it. So sometimes you need to be creative. Giving a kid a fist bump is a touch, right? A pat on the back. And if you're worried about crossing the line of propriety or that the parent might be upset, then I would recommend that you actually just ask that parent, say, is it all right with you if I put my arm around your child? Does that bother you? Because if it does, I won't do it. But if it's all right, I think that might help your child feel safe in the school and feel better and behave better. And then the parent will have their answer. Some parents want all the help they can get, and they'll say, yeah, sure. And other parents might not feel comfortable with that. Really, the best way to help a child is if you can create a change at home and get the parents into counseling, but that's pretty hard to do. But if you have a chance to encourage the parent to go get some help, some family therapy for their child, then that would be a really good move. But assuming that you can't do that, every need that you can meet in the school will help out. So just keep doing it and don't be discouraged if the kid is rejecting of your efforts. Don't be discouraged if you're helping this kid 1 year and then they disappear from your school because they're in a family that's transient and they just go live somewhere else. And so your chance to help them is interrupted. Even if all you do is show respect to them on one day, sometimes that child will remember that one day like, wow, I was in trouble. I did something bad. And that one school person, they still treated me like a person, like I mattered. So don't underestimate what you can do in a short amount of time, even though it's better if you have a longer time to make the difference. So this is some beginning thoughts for you as school administrators, as teachers, to help children that are having trouble with their behavior. Thanks for tuning in. Bye.